This is 8 Minutes of Awesome. I'm Jennifer Lipsky. Kathryn Ananda is an impact practitioner and changemaker who brings awareness to how we, all in our own ways, can help to change the world. And speaking with me right now is Kathryn Ananda. Hi, Kathryn.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing really well. And thank you so much for taking the time to share this with me.
Thank you also.
So, Kathryn, tell us a little bit about what you're doing in your world right now.
Mm. Um, I've been working for a few years now. I say a few years, of course, it's part of a big journey integrating the work on what I call making a positive handprint. So how our actions make a positive impact in the world. And specifically exploring the notion of thrivability. So that's, each of us have our own notions of what thriving is for us. It looks very different from person to person and community to community. But when you look at the notion of thrivability from a systems perspective, it's about creating and curating the conditions for the most generative opportunities for collective thriving. So that's, when I take this action, this helps me to thrive in the ways that I want to thrive, and it allows others the opportunity as much as possible to thrive in the ways that they want to thrive. And recognizing that through this kind of approach that we can have a non-zero sum game approach to working together, that we don't have to be competitive. Sometimes that reduces the pie of opportunity. So that's generally the space that I'm working in. I'm very interested in ecosystemic approaches, behavioral approaches, and psychological approaches, and all of that kind of thing, but very much interdisciplinary. Personally, though, at the moment, I'm going through a phase of focusing on my personal thrivability and particularly transition that's going on for me about the way that I work, which has really meant simplifying, withdrawing a little bit, really focusing in on the principles that guide me and how I'm living them out, and going back into strategy mode for the next phase. So that's where I'm at.
Mm. I would be interested to know your suggestions for someone who may feel that he or she is kind of stuck and can't make any changes in the world. They think, oh gosh, what I do, it doesn't matter. Or even within their own lives, like what you were just describing. If they feel kind of stuck, like, wow, I wish I could change, but I just feel like I can't. What kind of suggestions would you give to someone to be able to kind of take some deep breaths and step out into this new expansion? What would you say?
Mm. I would say that there's two major components to that. And one is the understanding and the strategic level, and the other is the embodied level. And so sometimes they need they need to work in harmony, and they have their own phases. So each of them have patterns, and basically, when we come from an understanding space, we have three things. Like, I've heard told, the world is made up of stories, not particles, but stories. So this notion that we have these beliefs about ourselves and about the world, we have these I statements, and from my personal professional experience in user experience design, for example, we have these things called user stories, where people, when they design software or an ecosystem, they look at who are all the different people involved, what are their stories, and how does that affect their behavior and what they want to get out of their interactions. How will that affect the way they engage? So those statements are things like, I am a mother, a carer, an employee, an employer, I am a user of a certain service, and I need, feel, am afraid of, so therefore. So that's like our base level of stories. And when we view the world, we've got all of these hundreds of millions of stories going on about all of the different relationships and responses and things that we're interacting with. And some repel us, and some kind of compel us to take certain actions, that we're more and less conscious of what those actions are. The more that we can get back to understanding what those stories are that are running for us and what's driving us. So I'm motivated by, in this instance, the reward that I hope to achieve is. When we take these stories and we look at then stories, scripts, and narratives. So the scripts are that story as it plays out. How does that play out in the actions? And so we look for those patterns. And then the narratives are, how do these play together to create worldview, to create the limitations of what's possible and the likelihood of what's going to occur as these things come together. So being able to take some time to look at our own patterns and our own motivations, and then see, okay, as this plays out, is there a need that I'm misunderstanding that keeps driving me into this place that's maybe not getting me exactly what I want, or has worked in the past and is now not the best thing for this situation? And then there's the embodiment thing that I spoke about before. So that's where, and that's part of what I've been going through in this last phase for myself, is recognizing that I've been doing a lot of intellectual work about my own theories of thriving and how that plays out in project management and collaboration and all of this kind of thing. And yet my embodiment of these ideas that I have was a bit lacking, because I'd been on go, 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 go mode all the time, and I hadn't taken the time to really calm down my cells and really deepen myself into my own body, so that doing that creates more of a sense of space and time. So I speak of every person, meet A. A has two things: stories of its needs, and it has a sense of agency in the capacity to meet those needs. And so those are the things we want to work on. We want to understand those needs better and work on our capacity and our agency to meet those needs. So sometimes that means go out into the world and create change, and sometimes that means simplify, go within and change within, so that we can look around and see how we can change our alliances or our relationships with the world to better interact and better meet those needs.
Mm. And I know with change also, it can be really rife with so much possibility, really endless great stuff, but it also can be filled with challenges and that kind of sense of vulnerability and maybe some fear and that type of thing. How do you yourself, how do you kind of navigate those times of feeling vulnerable and kind of seeing it through to your strength?
Mm, I'm an absolute shocker for it. I tend to see things in complexities and really want to try and please everyone, and often have a habit of taking on other people's problems or responsibilities in trying to. So for me, one of the things that, in terms of meeting my own self-confidence in that, has actually been unhooking the places where I'm taking on other people's stuff.
Mm.
And so that's really something that's played out through some past projects, that I'm really sitting and integrating how they didn't play out the way that I wanted them to, or would have hoped for them to have done so. And so I'm kind of moving back and forth, when I suppose in a sense experimenting on myself um, through the spaces of kind of those gut cringing moments of just, oh, why didn't I this? Why didn't I that? I'm not good enough to this or that. This is going to play out in the same way if I try and move forward, to then, okay, let's take that back. All right. Is this true statements? Is it true that this is the only way to view this situation? Is it true that I was enabled to have the capacity to do all of those things differently? Or is it also possibly true that the way things played out fed me with more capacity and greater understanding of needs to deliver more value in the future? And then I'm coming back to my patterns again, and I'm looking at, okay, where in my day what are my upward spirals and my downward spirals, and where can I put little circuit breakers in that? So just really um, letting go of those things that really are not my stuff, or just that I need to surrender, and that I won't always love everything that I do. And actually, you know what really helped me was Googling failure and success and confidence, and the number of articles that I came across within seconds of choosing those right keywords of the most successful people in the world quoting on why you need to fail and fail and fail and fail and fail and fail again in order to get to that success line. And reading that one line, most people fall over and give up within, meters of the goal. So, standing on the shoulders of giants, looking around at other people's perspectives, trying to take myself out of the place that is reactive and hooked into a certain belief, and just asking, does this serve me? Does this serve me? What will serve me better?
Right.
It may seem true that ... However, it's not going to get me the outcome I want. So how can I unhook and come back to a place that will serve me better? So that's what I'm working on at the
Yeah,
moment.
really dynamic. And you're right, it is a dichotomy. And those are really great suggestions on how to look at that. And I'm interested to know who inspires you through this time of transition.
Um, right now, the people that are inspiring me the most are the unusual suspects in my life. I'm surrounded by so many incredible people through my networks doing extraordinary things. And so, I'm well and truly full of inspiration from them. Yet, it's the people around me, like my daughter, or the people who are just really facing each day in a simpler world, really. And it's those moments of awe, it's those moments of just beingness
Mm.
and simple connection. And that's actually inspiring me at a whole nother level. It's helping me integrate a lot. I've been sort of sitting with the notion of what if just this layer of myself was enough and all right? What if this layer of myself was enough and all right? What if this relationship was actually enough to make a powerful, positive impact in the world? I'm always driven to change the world, to make it, to remove injustices and to empower people to make the biggest positive change they possibly can, and that has to be balanced and tempered with those simple moments of finding that actually just putting my devices down and really taking some time to look into my daughter's eyes and really listen to her and just dream for a few moments is actually a part of being the change that I want to see in the world. So that's
Yeah,
again the embodiment layer.
that precious connection with those closest to you, and also precious connection with yourself. That's a really beautiful message. And I'd like to know right now if there is another message, if there's one specific thing that you could share with people right now from your heart, what would that be?
There is, and I'm speaking to myself right now, and I'm going to really, really speak to myself. There is so much vitality locked up within us. And all of those things that we struggle against that seem so impossible to overcome, as John Hagel says, it's really just about unlocking those small moves smartly made. And if we all start to pivot together by just awakening each other a little bit, supporting each other a little bit, supporting ourselves a little bit, that actually we will move mountains to the point that the landscape will be entirely unrecognizable. And the first thing we have to do is dream it. And if we can't dream it and we can't imagine it, then we can't go there. So we just need to change our dreaming and just remember that we can. And we
Mm,
can.
a beautiful message. And for those who would like to contact Kathryn directly, you can do so through her website, positivehandprints.org. Kathryn Ananda, thank you so much for spending this time and sharing with me today.
That was awesome.
Thank you. It was awesome.
Yay.